Welcome to Crossroads Callings. I am your host, Chimere Brown, and this is a podcast dedicated to navigating life's pivots and discovering a pathway to true purpose and calling. I am here with a Renaissance woman. If you ever met anybody that has 10 jobs, this is this person. She does all of the things. An award-winning creative producer. She is a singer. She has a production company called EyeKan Studios, as well as she is the supporting producer behind the House Shy. So if you're familiar with the Chicago music scene, House Shy is a collective of artists, music singers, doing big things here in Chicago. And this person is all in the mix. She can definitely give a masterclass of blending both soul and strategy. Her name is the Tamika Mimi Smith. I know. I gotta play the clap
That's
track
good.
here.
That's off the dome. My God.
Yes.
Period.
So welcome.
Welcome
to Crossroads Callings. You've done big things in the industry. We're coming off the amazing kind of height as it comes to like Art Basel just happened. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's fun.
As well as unpacking your roots of being a builder. But we also want to get to know you as well.
Yeah, I am so honored to be here. This is a beautiful establishment, by the way.
Yeah.
So for those who have contributed to this space, it's so wonderful in the world to see it. So I'm super grateful to be sitting here with you once again. This is that girl, okay? I'm just, always in awe. You're always just like so regal. You have this regal beauty that just commands a lot of respect. So like I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored that you asked and requested me to be here. So I take that very humbly.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited just not only to be able to have the conversation with you, but also to be able to host this discussion about, what it looks like to be a creative and how we can continue to support each other.
Yeah, I love that. I look forward to the conversation. I hope you guys do too, because Crossroads Callings, it starts now. Okay, Tamika, we're going to jump right in because you are an award-winning producer, but I also met you in a corporate space.
Yeah.
But I am curious about you because I know that at the core of it all, you're a singer, you're a performer.
First.
That probably came first. Yeah, I imagine that came first.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of a glimpse into your origin story.
Yeah.
Did tell us about, I don't know, young Tamika.
Young. Oh my gosh. So I am actually from Freeport, Illinois.
Okay.
I am not from Chicago. I've been here for a bit over a decade, but I grew up here. And, so having those country girl roots, being Northwest Illinois, everything outside of Chicago was country.
Yeah.
There's cornfields and farms and all the things. So just being able to be in a space where church was really that was pivotal to all our lives, because you live in the country, it ain't really much else to do.
Freeport, Illinois, where is that?
It is past Rockford, right in between like Wisconsin and Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's literally like right in that little corner cusp. And of course, my mother and father, they were both musicians. My dad played guitar and keys, and he sang. My grandmother played keys, she sang. My mom is, she's a singer. So it was just something that was in my blood. And coming up, again, I live in a very tiny town, but my mother and her best friends, they all had a group and they sang together. And then all of their kids, i.e. my god sisters, we then kind of was the next generation. So we formed our own little group, and we all went to church together, and we sang in the praise team, sang in the choir, sang in the choir in high school, performed around in the city at other people's churches and other people's events. So, shout out to them. I had training very young.
Yeah.
Coming up, and got that discipline very young. And then I went off to college to the Jackson State University.
Not the Jackson.
Okay. You know, they always got to say the.
Okay.
And that's when I began to be in more professional spaces with even greater singers and even, you know, greater talent. And that's really that's breeding grounds, you know, like that's really where the stars are born. And you really start to hone in on those skills. So when I was in my university choir, we started singing with celebrities very young. You know, I'm 18, 19, singing with the Kimberells and the Artemis Pews and doing the big competitions, you know. So I've been doing music pretty much as long as I can remember. And, you know, I started branching off into my own little thing and, you know, becoming my own persona. And that's where like Mimi on the mic kind of came from. And, you know, that's what people know me as today.
So, tell me about Mimi on the mic, because like I said, you and I used to work from the same company, for those that don't know. And there is no Mimi on the mic in that tech corporate atmosphere. But when I went to the House Shy, it was almost like I was meeting you again for the first time.
That's so funny. I mean, you know, it's kind of like Beyonce. She's Beyonce, but then she got like Sasha Fierce. You know what I'm saying? So like, people are so layered, right? Yeah. And in every environment, you're gonna peel off different layers. And for me, because, you know, I have to uphold this clean corporate image, you know, and I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, a lot of creatives, because like we want to be free in who we are, but Mimi on the mic is a little bit more unhinged.
Yeah.
And I get to express myself through music and creativity and performance that I may or may not always be able to do in the corporate space. You know, so it's really just this alter ego, but it's still me authentically. Like I sing professionally. Mm-hmm. Everybody calls me Mimi, and you know, to just stamp this and declare and decree this, we created Mimi on the mic. So, and it's so funny because like we live in this digital age, right? We live in the world of social media. So people approach me like, you're Mimi on the mic. And I'm like, yeah, girl, that's yeah, sure. You know, but it really started as like my Instagram name years ago, and it became a brand, you know, so I really live in that. Is not just literal, but it's figurative as well, because I sing, and you know, but not only do I sing, I also get to use my voice in other spaces. So it really is just kind of like this combine of how I get to use my voice and express myself and express my creativity.
Yeah, let's talk about the layers of Tamika.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about how you use your voice to kind of express.
Yeah.
Because as I stated, when I said she had 10 jobs, this was not a game. That was not a joke. And the only people I know with that many jobs is my family, because we're Jamaican, and we were always raised that you should have more than one stream of income.
Yes.
But how did these layers of Tamika develop? So the singer is innate. That's a God-given gift.
Yep.
And then that was cultivated in college.
Yeah.
But then you have these other layers of you. So so we talked about Tamika the singer.
Yeah.
But you are also really heavy in corporate.
Yes.
As well as events. Where did these other layers begin to kind of evolve and form?
So during my time at the Jackson State
girl.
Okay, just don't forget the because then people will fight you. And you might want to throw illustrious in there too, you know, if you just feeling so compelled. So during my time, I was studying mass comm. It was crazy. When I went to school, I was actually a science major. Why I did that, I don't know, child. I was trying to find my way to the money. But then I found out about mass comm, and that covers so much, right?
Yeah.
And so I started to just find these different avenues and how the creatives actually build careers for themselves, not only through corporate spaces, but through entrepreneurship and through collaborations. So that's one thing that was really big when you're studying the world of business, when you're studying the world of just corporate media, journalism, integrated marketing. It really is, it's a lot of group effort. So I was studying that, and I did everything. I worked for the radio station. I worked for the TV station. I was doing things very, very young while also performing at school. And, just I was really just trying to explore all that I can explore as this multi-hyphenate creative, right?
Yeah.
And how I really got into my actual career, and like this story, you probably gonna be like, girl, what? So it's a lot of layers here. Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? Jesus. So
we're gonna cut it at an hour and a half.
Okay. So I'll give you the
short
shade
version
type of. Okay, so when I was in college, I would come to Chicago because my family, my sister's mother owned a spa in McCormick Place. So that's how I got exposed to doing very high level events at a young age. I'm 19, 20 years old, working at McCormick Place, just soaking that all in. And I was the spa manager, and she would take me to all of her C-suite meetings, like the VP of tourism and the Choose Chicago's. I'm sitting in boardrooms just with this lady and with all these old folks just listening to the conversation.
What did she see in you to want you to come with her? Because it's something that she had to identify with. Because she gave you a seat at the table. She gave me
a seat, honey. I mean, like, I think I've always just shown up hungry.
Yeah.
I've always shown up hungry. And, she saw that. And, that's my sister's mother. Me and my sister, we share a father, we don't share a mom. But I reached out to her and I'm like, hey, I need a job. I mean, like, you got this spot, like, do you need some help? So like when I would come home from college, I would work at her spa. And, she was like family. Although she wasn't my biological mother, she got me an opportunity. And, she would bring, like, literally, like, I'm her shadow. She would be going to all these fancy events with Vibe magazine, and we're working with the executives and we're doing their massages and we're doing their hair, nails, and makeup and blah, blah, blah. So that's how I got in that space very young. And so there was a convention that came to McCormick Place. It was a Subway convention, the restaurant Subway. And so we were doing like, spa services, hair, nails, makeup, what have you for the executives. And one of the franchise owners, her badge said Jackson, Mississippi. And I was like, I go to Jackson State. And she was like, when you get back to school, call me and I'm gonna give you a job. As soon as I got back to school, because I had no money, child, I called that lady, and baby, I became a sandwich artiste, okay? That's what they call them. They call them sandwich artiste. And so I worked there, and then I started meeting like the marketing directors and, different store owners. And I started hosting little events for like the Cancer Foundation. And I started catering the university president's office, like meetings, and doing catering for like sporting events. I was like, they used to call me the Subway girl at Jackson State. Like, cause I used to show up in my Subway gear and my little polos. And I used to like dress up, have my little makeup on and my little khakis, like, I wasn't really in my work uniform, but I just used to like zhuzh it up.
Yeah.
And I just became like this face of Subway. And so from there, again, I'm studying advertising and marketing and stuff like that. And I found out that Toyota was doing this campaign called the Toyota Green Initiative. And they were going to HBCUs promoting sustainability on their college campuses. So I did a little research. I found out they were doing this competition, and I entered into the competition. Mind you, I'm still a student. I'm still working at Subway. So when I submitted my proposal, I was chosen to roll out this campaign. And it was pretty much like, how would you promote sustainability on your college campus? So I'm a media student, promoting. I'm, TV, radio, So I came up with a whole little plan. And then they, so the agency at the time was Burrell Communications.
I've heard of Burrell.
Burrell Communications is headquartered here in Chicago.
Yes.
So it was just God, right? So like, when I got chosen, I was able to come back home. I visited their HQ, which is right downtown on Michigan Ave. And they gave me my little cute little Toyota packet. And, you're now a brand ambassador for da-da-da. And they gave me a budget, like a $500 budget. And they're like, this is your campaign budget. Now I work with big budgets.
Yes.
But back then,
you had to start somewhere.
we had to start from somewhere. So
Yeah.
because I worked at Subway, like I went to and one of my colleagues, she had a boutique on campus. So I was like, hey, I want to do this event. And I want to do it during, in April for Earth Day, because we're talking sustainability.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reach out to the local Toyota, and I'm going to have them come out and let the students test drive the cars. And then I'm going to get catering from Subway, and I'm going to get t-shirts made, and we all going to have our little Toyota brand ambassador t-shirts on. And, so we made it a big thing.
Yeah.
And that gained, national recognition. And I got my friends involved, and college friends and all the things involved. And I ended up winning a competition. And so it was SWAC, which is like, Grambling Southern. And then you got the CIAA, which is like the Eastern HBCU school. So I done beat out all these students. Girl, these people that gave me a free car.
They gave you a free car?
I won a car.
Wow.
They flew me and a friend to LA, where the Toyota headquarters is, in Torrance, California. And I got to meet the VP of marketing of Toyota. And then they let me drive. We went through our little summits and our little, you're now the new brand ambassador.
Yeah, they rolled out the red carpet for you.
And then I rolled off the lot in an icy white Prius, and they gave me $1,000 spending money, and they planted a garden at Jackson State in my honor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I wish the short story was short.
That's why it's the illustrious.
So
because she got a garden there.
Yes, like that is how I got. That's really like the start of my career.
Yes,
just the evolution of me becoming who I am.
Yeah. That is, oh my goodness.
I wish I still had that car though. That car was nice. I had like a 2-year lease on it. They paid the insurance on it, and they had set up because it was kind of like content, although it wasn't content at the time, but they gave me like this whole trip itinerary, and they set up like hotels and resort stops for me on the way back, and I had to track the performance of the vehicle, and I had to literally drive.
You were collecting data.
Yes.
While they gave you this free car for 2 years.
Yes, ma'am. I drove from LA to Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh my gosh. How long did that take you?
It was technically like 3 days, but it was because they set up all the hotels. So it was like, LA, then I had to go to New Mexico, and then Amarillo, Texas, and then Dallas. And then, so they had stops, like intentional stops for me. I'm going through the desert and taking pictures with me and my friend, and it was so cool.
So how did you transition into your corporate career? Because they didn't offer you a job, did they?
No, I mean, I was young. I was still in college. And after I graduated, my first job out of college was working at a radio station. I worked at 97.7.
So you went back to being Mimi on the mic?
Yeah, but I wasn't a personality. I worked in the marketing department.
Okay.
And, sales and marketing. And, but it was the biggest hip hop radio station in Jackson, Mississippi.
What was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome balancing being Mimi on the mic, the singer, and then being corporate marketing specialist or guru?
Yeah, I mean, now or not even now, because I think people are more open to the different facets of people and what they come with.
Yeah.
One thing that I struggled with coming up, maybe 10, maybe 17 years ago, when I wasn't all the way in the door like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing cool stuff for a long time, and I've been always documented that, right? And so when I was interviewing for certain jobs, the challenge was that I overwhelm people.
In what way?
So they're like, well, do you want to sing? do you want to be an artist or do you want to be a concierge? Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And I'd be
They
like,
made
well,
you choose.
I'm like, well, why do I have to choose? Beyonce didn't have to choose. Tiana Taylor don't have to choose. Like, like to me, this is who I am. This is literally who my make and model and my design. So the challenge was other people being overwhelmed with me being multi-talented and not understanding how to contain me, but then also they start to question your commitments.
Yes, because when you can't be contained, clearly.
Yeah.
And how did you combat that? Because I feel like it's very disheartening when people tell you you can only do one thing.
Do one thing. And at some point, I was like, well, I guess I have to choose. But then
what did you choose?
Well, I'll say this. I chose to take not a lower level job. I chose at that time to take a job that wasn't over demanding of me so that I could still be a creative, because that is what my purpose was at that time and hour. And by the grace of God, and every time I see this man, I have to thank him. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen him in a while. So if you see this, Jonathan, love you down. So I was a concierge for about 3-4 years, right? And I worked at 900 North Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I transitioned, of course, I transitioned from Chicago to, from Jackson to Chicago in 2014. So I was trying to find little jobs here. My first job here, I worked at Dave & Buster's. I worked in the event department at Dave & Buster's. So I loved that. And then when I started singing and performing more, I had joined this group called LXW Chicago with Dietrich Haddon.
Yes.
And, he had a group in LA, and he had this big group in Chicago, and it was a big, big thing. This is like 2015. So I was looking for a job, but then I still wanted to be able to sing and perform.
Yeah.
So this guy, Jonathan, he was a manager, he was concierge manager at this mall, 900 North. They got the Gucci and
yes,
you know what I'm saying.
That's
and
the Magnificent Mile for those that don't know.
And in the Montclairs, and the Kate Spades. It's the upscale mall. Mm-hmm. And he gave me a job, and I worked there, and I worked for the water tower. But you a concierge, so you just helping people come in like, oh, hi, and that helped me be able to speak. And, just tune that ghetto up a little bit.
Yes, because I can imagine
the customer.
Yes, I always say this because I think of myself. I was not as polished as I am now.
Yes.
Coming from where I came from, having the family that I have, where you can speak freely and be yourself. And corporate America is very contained.
They gonna tune you up.
Yeah.
Refine you.
They call it refinement, but I feel like you lose a little bit of yourself. And that's why so many of us code switch.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to.
But it's a survival tactic.
It is.
So essentially.
And there's a magic to that.
Oh, come on. Okay.
There's a magic to that because, of course, like when you are going in different environments or different type of people, like, you can be true to yourself, but you also still want to be relatable. You also still want to be able to speak in a way that is true across the board. You know, and me, I've always been a little proper. And my family didn't play that. They always kind of kept me, use your R's, use your words. What do you say?
Right. Don't speak slang. My mom was like that too.
So that was always in me. But and plus I grew up, around a predominantly white, so I got the, you talk whites when I was young.
I got that too.
Yeah, I got that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. Yeah.
But when you start working in those types of spaces where you got a lot of, people who got a little money coming in those spaces, it just refines how you communicate with people. But I wasn't really doing nothing but telling them where the stores was. And, yes, you can go to the 3rd floor. You can go over here.
Yeah. What else did that opportunity do for you from it feels like preparation for something else.
It was. Honestly, Jonathan was extended an immense amount of grace to me.
Who was Jonathan again?
He was my manager.
Okay.
And because I started singing and performing, my I was traveling almost every weekend
Mm.
and for shows.
And you're working in a mall,
I'm
which
working in a mall,
requires weekend.
And anytime I needed to go off and chase my dreams, that man would let me go. And whenever I was ready to come back, he would let me come back. He never fired me.
That is such a rarity to me.
It is a rarity.
Because I feel like every manager that I ever had,
we hate
a little bit, yes. And it's almost like you can be yourself, but don't do too much. And they try to reel you in.
Correct.
You really could have lost your job.
Correct.
And the fact that he gave you the freedom and the space, I think you needed that experience because it showed you could be all of you.
He gave me the space to literally find myself. Like, I had people, that were amazing and gave me opportunities before that, but I always in that season of my life when I was 24, 25 years old and trying to find my way into a decent job, coming from college and moving here, like anytime I see that man, and I haven't seen him in a while, I always have to thank him.
Yes.
Because he's about the same age, a little older, a white guy. I always just have to say, Jonathan, thank you so much because you extended so much grace to me and you let me go off and explore and find myself. And you always gave me an opportunity to come back and make some money without condemning me or making me choose.
Yeah. As Black women, I feel like people try to contain us.
Yeah.
From that area of your life, what do you hope that other Black women learn from that?
One thing that is very, disheartening, and we're two Black women, is I'm all for the Black girl. I'm that they have a soft spot in my heart and my soul, but I'm about people in general.
Okay.
And there were some people who didn't look like me
that helped you, huh?
That helped me.
Yeah.
So it would be remiss for me to not be grateful for those other people.
No, shout out to the allies.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say that, like, be all that you can be as a Black woman and put yourself in positions, because we do know suppression is real. We do know, that what we're experiencing is what we're experiencing.
It's very real.
But there are people that don't look like you who will stand in solidarity for you. And I think it's really important that we keep those relationships near and dear because, they be the ones that got the opportunities. So I think it's, we can, still be true to who we are, and we can still play nice at the same time.
No, I appreciate you saying that because you're right. There are people that haven't looked like me that have given me opportunities in ways that almost I didn't expect. And so, we're grateful for those people. I'm grateful that you had that experience because I think it had to happen that way so you can continue to find yourself.
Absolutely.
So you've evolved from Toyota. You've evolved from Michigan Subway girl, being a Subway. You have that girl is far long.
Shout out to Miss Cindy, this older white lady.
Yeah,
one of them. She like, girl, she was so cute and country. She's like, girl, come when you come back, I'm gonna give you a job. I will never forget that woman.
Yeah,
I will never forget her.
We appreciate all of the. It's almost like going down the yellow brick road and everybody that kind of helps you along the way.
Yes.
So, but now you've evolved into more corporate and professional space. Describe what that transition has been like for you.
I'm a little bit of a free bird. I'm a little bit of a firecracker, and I started off as technically a creative. So the transition, it hasn't necessarily been difficult, but it was growing pains.
Let's talk about that.
The 9 to 5 thing's a little rough for me because I'm not a morning person. I don't activate until after 10 o'clock. So I haven't
that you don't activate.
So of course, and I work in events, and sometimes it's early mornings and then late nights. So, having to really discipline myself with time, it's just been a learning curve. And then also, and so how I even really got into my world of experiential outside of, what I was doing younger as a brand ambassador with Toyota. If you've ever heard of the Black Women's Expo.
Yes, I've heard of Black Women's Expo.
Shout out to them. So because I was singing and doing all this stuff, and because I had some events and production background, because I come from that world of music and all the things, the founder and CEO, I applied for a job there, and the founder and the CEO gave me my first job as a producer.
Okay.
And I was entertainment producer.
Got it.
So my job was to run the stage.
The main stage.
The main stage, baby. That's the essence main stage, okay? So it's always at McCormick Place. And mind you, I started my career at McCormick Place. And then I was able to go back and be a part of planning this big, huge expo. And it was a small team. It was only, maybe 4 or 5 of us doing, this huge, magnificent event that brings over 50,000 people over a weekend. So it really gave me like those learning chops of like how to book artists and how to negotiate terms and, what their honorarium is and what their rider is. Like, are you doing a track show? Are you doing a live band? How do we integrate you with media? And how do we route you to do keynotes or fashion shows and hair shows? So that really was my first like big girl producer job. And because I came from music, it made sense.
Yeah.
And I was booking all my artist friends to perform on the main stage. When I say like, I had that stage rocking, baby, like
I bet
I had that
you
stage
did.
going. And it was so crazy. Now I be doing too much, girl. Not only was I having to, build the run of show and do all of the coordinating behind the scenes, but then I'm on site having to do the build outs and working with the AV companies and working with the general contractors to build the stage.
The sound got to be right.
Sound got to be right. That stage got to be right. Of course, we got all the behind the stage stuff with dressing rooms for all the artists and talent and all the things. But then I'm also hosting. We had hosts, but in the case that somebody didn't show up,
the show had to go on.
The show has to go on, baby. And I'm like, Mimi on the mic, okay? That's what I was trying to be on the producer side, but I gotta be Mimi on the mic right now. And then I booked Dietrich because I was part of LXW.
Right, because you had been singing with him.
I've been singing with Dietrich. And, I got it at a discounted rate because, so we flew Dietrich in, and my whole choir at the time, LXW, we performing on stage with this man. So I done went from being the stage manager, running the show, to now I'm hosting, and now I'm performing on the stage with this man. So
in one day.
Doing the most.
How'd you find the balance, Tamika? Because I feel like you still do that. You still Mimi on the mic, you produce, and then if a background is needed, I got to do that too.
It's a fool, girl. I don't know. It still puzzles me to this day.
Do you think it's divine?
I just think that I was born to do this. So it's, balance to me, like it comes with the territory of the path that God created for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, do I be completely exhausted at the end of the day? 100%. But I love what I do so much. So it's like, if I have to do this, knowing that I have the capabilities to do it, it's gonna get done.
Yeah.
And, I truly believe that God designed me for this type of stuff.
Because you approach it not as I have to do this, but it's like, oh my God, I get to do this, or I'm supposed to do this. Was this the inception of the EyeKan Studios? And can you explain what that is, and then like what was the start for that?
So, I pronounce it EyeKan, and
EyeKan, okay.
Most people pronounce it EyeKan, but I either way. So, okay, and I know we're gonna segue here. So, some years ago in 2018, I started working at a fabrication studio, and I won't go too much into that yet, but I started working for a fabrication studio, and in the pandemic, just like most businesses, shut down. And we were, events and marketing and all the things. And of course, I was getting my little unemployment or what have you. But my former boss at the time, again, another millennial white man, we were super close. And he was just like, Tamika, if you can make me all the money that you made me or this company, and you brought all these opportunities here, just imagine what you could do for yourself.
Yeah.
And he was like, I really think you should, take a stab at it and, start your own business. And, he gave me the fuel to do that. He gave me the support to do that. And of course, I had to figure it out and go through the ebbs and flows of how to start an LLC and how to, how to go through the Secretary of State.
The administrative things.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, so I was able to find the SBDC, which is a small business development corporation in Bronzeville. And I was able to get a free business coach through the program. And she helped me with my mission statement and my vision and do my business plans and financial forecasting. And I still don't know what I'm doing to this day, but the resources are out there to help.
Yes.
Businesses and small businesses. Just figure it out. Figure out the kinks. And so I'm always, girl, I be churchy and don't be trying to be, but
no, it's okay.
So prior to the pandemic, this was 2019, right? And I knew All-Star Weekend was coming to Chicago.
Yep, All-Star Weekend 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something, but they be real last minute with stuff. They be real hush, all this stuff.
Yes, a lot of gatekeepers here.
Super gatekeepy, right? So I was trying to figure out, like, how can I get into this? And so I started trying to do my own little thing. I'm like, I wanted to do this indoor street ball fest. That was just something that I was envisioning. Then I was like, oh, we should do it at the Croc Center because the Bulls, they're a donor of the Croc Center, and we should invite youth. And, we gonna put fence around, we gonna brand it out. No budget, no nothing.
Trying to bring the Rutgers to Chicago.
I was just trying to do it, have a little time, because this is the first time All-Star Weekend I've been in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a thing. So I was having I just kept seeing chain link fence, child. I kept seeing it. And at this time, my business was not a thing. I kept seeing chain link fence in dreams and visions, and I was telling people about it. I was telling my cousin, I want to put fence around the whole gym, and have posters, just like on 2K or, or street ball with, on the video games. So then, I started writing up the little proposal because, you always got to start with the vision, write the vision, make it plain, have back at 2 and 2. That's what the word tells us to do.
Yeah.
Write the vision, make it plain. And I'm just talking to little people about it. And unfortunately, my dad ended up passing away.
I'm so sorry.
And, this is November and 2019. And so everything came to a screeching halt for me because, my dad was I had to go make sure that his life was honored, that I left work, I had to leave work and everything. And I was gone for about 2 months and trying to support my mom. And so when I finally got back into the swing, I was just like, well, I guess my All-Star Weekend dreams ain't gonna happen. Well, I'll so I just started looking up who was doing what and how I could possibly try to
support them.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, girl, one day I get an email and this agency called Satis and Phi reaches out to me. And I find out that this is Nike's design firm in Ohio, or where are they located? Beaverton, Oregon, or something like that.
Yes. They are in Oregon. Yes. Yeah.
And so, of course, when people are doing their pitches and their concepts, they sent me the concept deck. And I kid you not, there was chain link fence everywhere.
Wow.
From the front to the back of the building.
That gave me chills. Okay. Yeah.
The renders, chain link fence, and TVs everywhere.
Which is what you envisioned.
I didn't even envision it to that magnitude, girl. I was just trying to put a little fence in a gym.
Yeah.
Baby, they were overtaking this retail space downtown Chicago next to the Nike Relab.
Got it. Yes.
And it was for youth. So they were doing customization stations for youth. They were bringing NBA stars to the activation. They had all these vignette pop-ups and all this merch, and I just was blown away. And I'm like, I know God didn't just play in my face like that now. Like, he did his big one. Like, I just didn't imagine it to be like that. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing chain link fence, da. And I was just in awe of how, like, God gave me this vision. Like, it was like a premonition. It was like deja vu.
Has that happened before that time?
No, it started happening around that time.
Do you think maybe the loss of your father has something to do with that? Kind of your insight to your direction of God and kind of the loss at the same time.
Honestly, I do. And because the thing was, like, I was trying to put it out in the ether a little, like, literally, like, little bit before this. Because my cousin has a conference, and I was helping her with a conference, and this was in early October. So I just started talking about it. But then I didn't start seeing, like, the visions until, like, November.
Yeah.
And then my dad ends up passing away. And then, I mean, it just started growing and growing. Like, I couldn't go to sleep without seeing fence and chain link fence. And I was just so discouraged, because I'm like, well, you know, I wanted to honor my dad's life, but, you know, I really wanted to find a way to bring this to life as well. And I just, you know, I thought that dream was over.
Tell me about bringing that dream to life, because you said they reached out to you.
Yeah.
They sent you the plan,
baby,
which mirrored the vision that you had, but on a higher level.
Much higher
because
level.
They got budget.
Baby, so, several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. How were you able to, like, plug into that? What was the outcome? And were you able eventually to honor your dad?
Oh my goodness. When they reached out, of course, I had to take this up to the top. You know, I started working with, like, C-suites, like, super young, you know, so I'm working directly with the CEO of this other company. And I'm like, Mike, I just got this bid. Like, we have to do this, no matter the cost. Like, we have to do this. Like,
yeah,
who else gonna do it but us? Like, you know, so of course, like, when you work in that space, working in fabrication, you got to understand all the technicals around it and the pricing and, you know, what is it going to take?
The nuances.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we started having client calls and, you know, really trying to understand the kinks and how many teams are going to be involved and what we're responsible for. And once it made sense, I mean, this was like a $90,000 bid at the end of the day. Like, they came with that money, and we were working so quickly. Mind you, I came back to work in January. All-Star Weekend was like Valentine's Day weekend.
Yes, it was.
You know what I'm saying?
I was there.
We on such a tiny timeline
to turn around and use it. Yeah.
Of a timeline. So, like, this was almost around the clock work.
Yeah.
So I'm client facing. I'm working with the client team, and by the grace of God, like, they came with everything. All we had to do was build it. They came with the renders. They came with the tech, the CAD drawings. They had already went to the venue and had all the measurements done. All we had to do was receive the blueprint and build it and install it. And I'm working with my team and the builders, you know, the sculptors and the welders and the painters and the woodworkers and you know, the lighting techs, and because that wasn't the only All-Star project we did. We also did Adidas and we did Puma.
Oh, wow.
So I was, like, overseeing not only one, but 2 other projects for that weekend. You know, so just being there and seeing this come to life, I couldn't believe it. And I don't understand it to this day. But right after that is when the pandemic happens.
Yes,
literally.
The world shut down right after All-Star.
Right after. Well, I don't even think we made it to March.
We made it to mid-March.
Like mid-March.
Yeah, I remember that distinctly, because a lot of people think that All-Star Weekend happened in 2019 because we were so free.
Correct.
But
2020.
It was 2020.
Screeching halt.
Yes.
Screeching
okay.
halt.
So we're talking about
no
this,
events was happening.
Right. And that's your industry.
Correct. So that, you know, that was for the creatives and the event people, like, for your whole life, you know, path to pretty much be like, no.
How'd you make it?
Well, I had to find ways to still be creative.
Were you in corporate
I
still?
wasn't at that time. No,
Okay.
I was just like I said, my manager at the time, he was, of course, he had to go through a very emotional season because he lost his baby, he lost his job,
He had a
he lost his
lot of loss.
company, he
Yeah.
lost all of his employees, and I was trying to stick beside him because
Because you had just experienced a loss. So
I had
y'all
just
were losing
experienced.
together.
Yes, it was so much loss, and
Oh my
I
goodness.
was just really trying to show up for him. He was trying to show up for me, and and really, I had to, again, just like Jonathan, Mike gave me opportunity. So I'm like, he gonna bounce back from this. He gave me opportunity. I want to keep that relationship close, and he was like, I think you should start your business. So I started trying to do little creative things like music videos, like set design. Although we couldn't gather in big spaces, and
Content was still king.
yes,
Yeah.
because that's when the world really started doing a big one
Yes, they
on the
did.
content side, and they started doing virtual things. BET started doing virtual BET awards.
Yes,
and
they
that, you know what
did.
I'm saying? So like the creatives had to get creative with
Literally.
how they could still create, and that's how I found like I did a music video. I was doing some set design stuff for this group called Her Story, and one of my good friends, he's like a global marketing manager for LinkedIn. He was a music video director, so he brought me in, and he's like, I need this set built, so I was able to do that, and I was still finding little ways to be creative, and it wasn't really a lot of money that was being made, but it was seeds that was being planted.
Yes.
You know.
When did that full restoration come? Were you completely out of the market the entire 2020 and then bounce back maybe 2021? Or like what was kind of when did you see things start turning around?
Yeah.
Because you still have EyeKan Studios.
Yes, I do. So 2021 we still shut down, and
Did you go back to corporate too around this time, or you were kind of out of both?
I was still out of it because I was soaking in my little unemployment benefits, honey.
A lot of people, you know what? No shame. A lot of
You know
people
what I'm
took that as
saying?
a season of rest.
Yes, and I was saving.
Yeah.
I was saving, and I was stacking, and I was just strategizing, and so I officially launched my business in 2021.
Got it.
That makes
when
sense. I filed the paperwork, so
Yeah.
I had to go through 2020 because, mind you, I just lost my father.
Yeah, and you
I
needed
was
to
working,
heal.
and I didn't. That grief didn't hit me until much later because I went right back to work right after that. So I was trying to.
And then you had
drag
All-Star
myself.
Weekend. That actually kept you
That
distracted.
kept me busy.
Yeah.
So when I didn't have that, I just I'm like, damn, my daddy ain't here no more. So
how'd you deal with that during that season?
I mean, I really just wanted to honor his life through what he instilled in me. My dad was an extremely hard worker. He was a creative, and I knew that the best way to honor his life was for me to become who I'm supposed to be. I think that is every parent wants their child to find whatever sense of success that they want. And my dad was just like that. He was the workhorse. He was the creative. He was just like me. ADHD, got to do this. I got to go here, and I got to go there, and I was. That's in my blood. So
right.
I was able to just kind of sit down, strategize, and how figure out what is the next phase for me. In my journey in my career, and so finally started my company, and it's a small business, and I called it EyeKan because it stemmed from me having visions, and I spelled it EYEKHAN was because I just felt like I was just doing iconic shit. You know what I'm saying? And not in my business was meant to do iconic things, and then also because I was having these visions, it was almost like these premonitions are almost like this prophecy. I was seeing things.
You're gaining a different kind of sight.
Yes, I was just seeing things in like this third eye. So that is how the name EyeKan, twofold, iconic, icon, and the seeing eye. So that's how it kind of came about. And then 2021, was doing this thing, and we was trying to gain a little bit of normalcy, and I was still doing a little bit in fabrication, and still doing some set design stuff. And then 2022 came, and I received, somebody reached out to me, and the creative director of Yale Organics at the time, and she found me on LinkedIn and was like, hey, she found me because she used to be at ORS, Olive Oil. And, the beauty girls, they gonna go from one brand to the next. The beauty girl, you know what I'm
it's just
saying?
like the tech girls.
As a tech girl, you're gonna be at Google and Salesforce
and LinkedIn,
exactly.
and they all kind of connected.
And in the pandemic, I had done a project for ORS at their office downtown Chicago. So I was interviewing for a role. She was creative director there at the time, and I didn't get that role. But when she went to Yale, she remembered me. Her name is Key Sherman, and she reached out to me on LinkedIn. She was like, I've been trying to find you. Yale is expanding very quickly, and we need an event manager. And, I know we interviewed before, and I've been seeing your work. Are you available? And I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm available because I ain't had no job.
Yes, I'm available.
I'm available.
Of course I am.
And I became the event manager for Yale Organics in 2022. So this was like, my business was very fresh and still trying to figure it out.
But you had a corporate client.
That was my first big corporate, like mine.
Yeah.
First big corporate client.
And first in-pocket money. You didn't have to share.
I didn't have to share. That was me. I got to come in and be a part of a new team, and, and they were, transitioning because, them growing pains was out.
How'd you build your team? Because you essentially were building from a ground up. Now you have this corporate client. We're fresh out of probably not even a full year out of the pandemic. Yeah. So you're building from the ground up.
Yeah.
And then you have this corporate responsibility as well. So how did you create your team?
Well, honestly, although like Yale has completely outgrown their britches, they were still a family-owned business. They were still technically a small business at that time. And they were rebuilding their team. Pretty much most people that was there that was coming in the marketing and branding department were brand new. The CMO and my current manager at the time, she was the brand manager, and the Key was growing her team, and so everybody was just coming in with fresh eyes.
Yeah. So I think it was a timing thing.
It was a timing thing.
Yeah, because you all came in new.
We all came in new.
Yeah. And all came in trying to build something.
Correct.
From the chaos.
Correct.
That we had just all overcome.
Yes.
So it's a timing thing.
It was a timing thing.
It's okay when you're building and other people are building the same thing.
Exactly.
There's a certain level of grace and understanding.
100%.
Yeah.
And, it's a Black-owned business. So I took on the role of event manager, and I was, there was this girl, Sierra, in the role at the time. She was transitioning into a new role. And of course, we had to do a little bit of passing of the torch, but, this is me we speak of here. So, I was able to really make it my own. And, as far as building a team, I didn't have a team.
Yeah.
It was just me. It was me and my manager. And I was, of course, because it's a small business, when they're doing events, we go to all these trade shows, Essence Festival, we all just coming together. I'm pulling people from the warehouse, child.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's all hands on deck.
I'm pulling people from the warehouse. We're like, hey, I need your help here. Can y'all pack these bags for me? Or I'm packing trucks and putting all the stuff for sampling and style and set, because I'm designing the experiences. So I'm looking at what we have in-house, and I'm really just utilizing what we had at our advantage in-house. And the CEO, Monique, she was right there in the trenches with you. She was, she out in the world doing her thing now, but at that time, Monique and her husband was there at the office with everybody. They in the warehouse. They not the CEOs that you don't see. They had a lot of visibility, and they've taken it to greater and greater heights. They're one of the top beauty brands on the shelf.
Talk about greater and greater heights, because you were able to translate that experience into and rinse and repeat for other corporate brands as well. You just wrapped at Art Basel. You
Yes,
mentioned
ma'am.
that as being one of your crossroad moments.
Yeah.
Of all the things that you've done, because 2021, we're talking about 5 years ago. And there's a lot that transpired probably for your
Absolutely.
business. You have had probably a number of clients
Yeah.
and corporations that you've worked with since then. What about this Art Basel and this event stood out?
So it would be remiss of me if I didn't give a shout out to my partner in crime, Jasper Hagan. I met Jasper at the time he was working in radio at iHeart, and I was working with the Black Women's Expo, and we just met in passing, and we became super close over the years, and he he is really a big dog, in his space. He really is like that guy that you call for like your beauty stuff. He don't work with the biggest and the best of them, right? So like over time we just really, showed up for each other and realized that what we are each other's strengths and weaknesses. And he has his own company, Full Court Marketing. Shout out to my FCM team. And I have my own company, and we just kind of merge our efforts together because what he do, I don't necessarily do, and what I do, he don't necessarily do.
Yeah.
And we just knew that, we needed each other to really exceed. Really, that comes down to collaboration, right? And how creatives really create. We create together.
Yes.
And he's been able to get into some spaces that most people be like, how does man get it up here?
Yeah.
And he really building his own table, and he always thinks of me, right? I'm like the yin to his yang, and like vice versa. We just work so well together. And so we've been really thugging it out together over the last, I would probably say like real tight, probably like the last 3 years. We started off pitching for a different McDonald's project that we didn't get. Olay, we got to go through that pitch phase, but through that you start to grow and you start to really, hone in on your skills and figure out, like what you're good at, what you're not so good at. And, so through us working together, we've been able to really pull off just two
amazing events and
HBCU
experiences.
alums from Chicago, and me by way of Chicago, and just really make magic together, and just have love and respect for one another. So yeah, I mean, when we did this McDonald's project
at Art Basel,
it was through his relationship with the brand manager at McDonald's, and we both know her. He's met her from years ago. I ended up meeting her through somebody else completely different a couple of years ago when she moved here from, I think, Atlanta. But she's from, she's from the North Carolinas. Her name is Takara, and she's now like the brand experience manager at McDonald's. So, she reached out to him and was like, hey, we McDonald's going to Art Basel. I might need you, da-da-da. And the first person Jasper on call is me.
Yeah.
Because, we got to gear up. You know what I'm saying? So we on calls, and we meeting the teams, and it's so many teams because they work with all these different agencies and, Walton Isaacson and Translation and Art House and all these things. So we just they already got that thing going on. We the new kids on the block.
Yeah.
So we having to come in and just kind of like,
hi guys.
Hi. But
let's get to business. Yeah.
So that's how that process came about. And man, like, it's tight. Mind you, I work at Salesforce 9 to 5. So then, like, I'm getting up early, but I'm still having to do my regular job, and I'm staying up late.
That's what amazed me about you, because I'm like, how is she doing this? And I know what tech life is like.
Yeah.
And there's no let up, as the Jamaicans say. And so you have to give 110% in 2 places.
Yep. I don't sleep. I mean, I do sleep because you need that. But like, when it comes to what I'm doing, there is no boundaries for me.
Tell me about what was the outcome from
my gosh,
Art Basel that you knew that it was successful.
That thing was the thing, okay? Like, So it was 4 days of programming, and we produced 2 of the days, and the other agencies they did the other 2. We just kind of divided and conquered, right? Because this was McDonald's like first Art Basel, and they was really trying to like take over the city of Miami. And Chicago was in the building because McDonald's headquarters is here. So we all came from most of us came from Chicago. Art House, Watson Isaacson was also like headquartered here, and they're kind of scattered now, but it felt good to know that like, oh, Chicago creatives really like they showed up in Miami. Okay, Cheyenne was in the building. So we went down. We did the site visit. It was at a private villa that's also Black owned. It's a beautiful home, and Jasper, he be having like big dreams. He like, I want to rap this and I want to do this, and me, I'm the executor. So going through that process and actually seeing it come to life was absolute madness. It was a million calls every day and talking about social media, and I don't know nothing about in feeds, and I don't know nothing about it. But it just all came together so beautifully. And when we got down there, and we work with a couple of teams that are already stationed in Miami. That are also BIPOC businesses, our fabricators that are there. Shout out to MPE and Quick Prints, so they do a lot of our brand work for a lot of our events, signage and the custom merch, and our outfittings and our structures and all the things, and our staging and audio. So we really work with small businesses that are family-based businesses. So it just blew our mind. Like,
to see like the vision come to life.
In Art Basel, that was my first time. And honestly, like, I just didn't see as much buzz around any other brand other than McDonald's. Like, anytime I also open social media, McDonald's, like all the celebrities on I'm walking through, I'm like, is that Jason Lee? Is that Tasha Smith, twin sister?
Not the twin sister.
Is that Terrence J? Like, I knew these people was coming, but it was a lot of people I didn't know was coming.
Yes.
They just pulling up because
it's the scale, it's the celebrity presence, it's
we do it grande, honey.
Yes.
Okay? But when you sit back, I'm still very humble. I'm still just a little country girl.
And you're still living off the high from it because you missed Subway. That just got through.
Sandwich artiste.
A sandwich artiste turned corporate events.
Yeah. I do events and meetings at the Salesforce Tower.
Right,
like, it's not super glamorous. It's cute.
And then you just did this big and major event at one of the largest art conferences.
Yeah, other than like cons and like
in these United States. Art Basel's notable.
That's an international thing.
Yes, it is.
This is a global brand.
It is a global brand.
So as creative director, of course, we got the client, Takara and Zena, they're running point on the McDonald's side, and you got all the other teams like Watson Isaacson, Art House, they're really art direction and just overall programming and, oversight of all the teams. But like me and Jasper was just nucleus of, so there were 2 events. We did a roast and toast dinner. That was a comedy night. And then we did a family brunch. So it was 2 days, and we transformed these people's home, and I mean, it was art, just like in here, it's art everywhere.
Yeah.
And they worked with all these local artists, and, we were very, very intentional. And one thing Jasper is like super intentional about is like, who are the power players, but like, who are the underdogs that we just really appreciate their work, and we want to make sure that we're giving them opportunity
and credit, because they probably don't get those 2 things.
Yeah. And we want to be able to like, use our platform to allow people to, stamp on their passports and stamp on their portfolios and say, I did this with McDonald's, and I did this with my Yeller, I did this with Nike. Like that's that notoriety, that name notoriety, that is what gets you to your next best thing is, the global brands and the reputation of the da-da-das.
Yeah.
So it was really, it was really a home team effort. Literally, most of us were from Chicago, coming from Chicago. And even people that came down, like, one of my good friends, she and her guy, they run Soul Sessions, Civilized Empire here in Chicago.
Yeah.
He hit me up and I was like, yo, if you in Miami, slide through.
Right.
I felt so safe because I knew I was there with people who are from my city.
Yes.
If anything go down, I felt safe, you know.
Yeah.
And we really just showed up, and all the Ebony Magazine made mentions and Essence made mentions. And,
Okay.
Jasper always say, like, we coming for that Biz Bash award.
Yes.
So because even our Keke Palmer project that we did last year got, highlighted through Biz Bash, and we don't just do it for the honor and the glory, but we do it to honor and glorify God through the gifts He has blessed us with.
Absolutely. I want to tap into that because I'm going to transition because you're getting ready to be in the midst of transition.
Yeah.
Currently with your corporate job, things are happening and changing from an organizational standpoint, but you're thriving as an independent. Why do you feel the need to still hold on to that corporate job?
Yeah.
And not just go all in with your business?
Well, as an entrepreneur and having done that for some years now, I'm a kept girly.
Okay.
And people love to show the glamour of being an entrepreneur.
Yes, they do.
But they don't really always like to show the ugly parts of being an entrepreneur.
And it don't come with health insurance. It does, but it don't.
It don't come with that United Healthcare benefits.
Hey, that's what it don't come with. Okay.
And it don't come with that unlimited PTO.
Yeah.
And the free food every day. And it just doesn't. It don't always come with the pretty views. It don't always come with the things that are still that I still appreciate having a regular job, but also it's something about going from $5 one day and not having no other dollars until maybe months later.
Yeah, when the next project comes through.
It's extremely inconsistent.
Yes, it is.
It's so inconsistent, and you really do have to do so much to keep it consistent, but then all the operational and organizational things just to run a business. It's not just, most small businesses, they are, especially the creatives, they want to create. They don't know how to run no business. They don't know about no taxes,
operational costs, and all of that.
We don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? So that again, it comes with the growing pains, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I also know that I can serve both purposes. I just have to know bandwidth and capacities, right? And I love my regular job. I feel like I still have more to give there. I still have more to learn there. I want to be able to produce events with them type of budgets. Where I'm not waiting and I'm still working for several weeks and months at a time and no deposits have been made.
Yeah. Where you're not waiting for the check to clear, but you can still work.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So for me at 36 and wanting to, generate wealth and have stock options and all the things, like sometimes you have to know not necessarily when to put it on the shelf, but you have to know how to shift, keep it in the rear view, but still in the keep it in the rear view because you want to keep that in front of you because that's your purpose to these other avenues. But I do believe that I can show up in both spaces and be
you've
impactful.
Proven that. Yeah, you've definitely proven that.
Yeah.
And speaking of both spaces, because in the midst of all of this, Tamika was still singing.
I still sing.
And where does the house shy fit into all of this? Because this already seems like a lot. When I say she does all the things, like this is only, we talked about
make it make sense.
EyeKan. That's only a little bit. We've worked for the same company, so there's a corporate sphere.
Yeah,
we talked about the evolution of you, and in the midst of this, she at the core is still a songstress, still a performer. So you are still singing, and you are still part of House Shy production.
Mhm.
And when I tell you, if there is a background singer that is missing, you will hear this beautiful voice from the back of the room. There's been times I'm like, well, who is singing?
Yeah.
And it was you. And
It's
so,
a real thing.
like, where are you threading still this Mimi on the mic still
Baby.
through all of this? Because
Inquiring minds want to know.
and because
Yes, I
I'm sitting
know.
here conversing with you, and that is still in the back of my mind. Like, and she still is doing
And
this.
still at church every Sunday.
And right, on time.
Correct. Well, first and foremost, that is the first gift that God blessed me with.
Yeah.
That I was that before anything else.
So you feel like you have an obligation to it.
And it's not even necessarily the obligation. It's more of that's been the driver that's gotten me through all of this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah.
That's if it wasn't for me singing, I wouldn't have gotten to the JS interface and sang with the Kimberells and then performing and knowing how to be on stage as a talent and seeing all of the technicalities that come with being, building stages out and the digital aspects. And I would not have learned anything else had it not been for me singing and performing. So I have to honor my gift.
Yes.
Because, they say when you don't use it, girl, you lose it.
You would definitely explain to the audience really quick what House Shy is, because I'm speaking as if they know, but
yes,
give just a quick snapshot, because this we gotta kind of close it
out.
Up.
Yes, so the House Shy is founded by two best friends named Dee Dee and Deontay.
Mm-hmm.
And they all, they both have their own thing that they do outside of this, but they started this back in I think 2017. And Deontay, he is an attorney, and he came up with new direction and singing in chorale and stuff like that. And him and his best friend always wanted to do something for the music community, and they started literally doing these little vignette shows in a living room. And that's how it got. That was the inception.
And now it's large stages.
Yes, they called it the House Shy.
Yeah.
And now we're on rooftops and
playing for the mayor of Chicago.
Playing for the mayor. And we also have traveled international. We have shows in Toronto, and we have the
quarterly shows here in Chicago, spotlighting
we are
independent artists,
the top premiere. And shout out to all the other platforms and showcases that are here, but we are the premiere. I just gotta say it. We're the premiere. And I started off as a featured artist, so just they reach out to other artists, somebody told them about me. They reached out, hey, do you want to come perform at our show? My first show was in a treehouse, an Airbnb treehouse in Pilsen, child. But it was such a vibe, it was literally a treehouse and people's feet dangling. It's kind of like So Far Sounds, people just kind of sitting at your feet, and so it was super, super, just really community geared. And then growth started to happen, and what comes with growth, and the venues started to change because we got to accommodate more people, but we still try to keep our essence of making it very homey, because that's what the brand is. And
it's still very intimate, yet still very large.
But you've been to a lot of our shows. We in a backyard, or we on a rooftop of a condo building. We like for people to be able to come to this space, still understand that this is a very produced and elevated experience, but it's really for us, by us, and from the singers and our production team and the founders who they host the show and they moving furniture around, it's very much like a family, and we've built our family and expanded, invited more people, to the process, so we've been able to do some amazing things. I am so grateful. I am so honored that they allowed me to be on that ride with them. And now, I'm kind of a part of that executive team where we get to talk strategy. We get to talk, what the opportunities look like for the house shy, and how we can really get funding to support this vision, because we know it's out there. You came to our New Year's Eve last year. We did Jack Daniels. I was able to bring Jack Daniels on as a partner. They gave us a little coin, and we was able to do this big Casino Royale.
Yeah.
That was our first big corporate partnership.
No, it's amazing. If you could, I'm just kind of trying to want to close this out in a way that honors all the facets that are you.
Yeah.
When you think of your journey, because I really feel like it's still unfolding.
Oh my gosh,
we spoke
I'm still
probably a little, just a baby. We spoke a little over an hour, and we haven't even scratched the surface of all the things that are you.
Yeah.
When you think about your story, do you think you're living in your calling?
I do, but I know that there are levels to this. And I feel like I'm on the surface, like people say you're scratching the surface. I'm on the surface, but again, I think there are just so many layers, and I'm not that girl yet. And I say yet because...
Why don't you think you that girl now?
Again, I'm still young. I still have so much learning to do. Learning is lifelong.
Yeah.
I'm still, to me, like in a fresh season of my career. And it gets better and better and better, just like a good meal. A good meal takes a while to prepare. And I just feel like I just been finding the ingredients.
Yeah.
And just trying to cook, and I have a lot of ambitions, and I'm just trying to navigate these things, but I see this vision of who I think God wants me to be. And I'm not there yet, and I think I'm on my way.
Yeah.
But if I never get there, I'm grateful for what He has blessed me with. The word says to be faithful over few things.
Yes.
And although I got a little bit more of a fit in a few things, I just approach my journey with gratitude, and knowing that I'm on a journey, I'm on a path, and I'll always be on a journey. I'll always gonna be on a path. I'll always be a student. And I'll never be perfect, and we never strive for perfection. I'm just really trying to live the life that God set out for me. I think we all have our own plans of who we want to be and but after a while, I'm just trying to do what God wants me to do.
Yeah. I always kind of close our episodes out by allowing each guest to speak life into the audience. Because even though you're in transition in your own career, on a corporate end, you are still very, very blessed. But there are people that are in the midst of their crossroads, don't really know what to do next. You have been able to tap into all facets of Tamika, but there are a lot of people that don't know how to do that, and they're still searching. So for those people that are listening, could you give them just a word of encouragement?
Yeah. I would say a couple of things. Relationships are king. And when you show up for people, and this may not be always, but when you show up for people, you show up for the right people, they're going to show up for you, So make sure that you're building relationships, and also make sure that in those relationships that your heart is always in a good posture, right? Because you got a lot of people that they got their own agendas, and and they're gonna do whatever it takes to get somewhere, no matter how whatever the outcomes may be. But if you keep your heart at a good posture, and you really show up for people in authenticity, you get blessed from that.
Yeah.
God honors those who honor others. So whether it's mentors or just whether it's your sis, like I'm gonna pull up to your podcast or I'm gonna pull up to your show. Find ways to support other people and build and maintain relationships. I think that is like the biggest thing I could have learned. And even, in my transition, you potentially not, being in this particular space, I will always maintain relationships with those people.
Yeah.
My coworkers, they're like my family now. So you never know where that may take you later down the road, right?
That's true.
So that's the best advice I can give. The second one is fear and doubt is inevitable. And it's a part of our make and model because we live in unprecedented times. We live in uncertainty. And fear can just really hinder you from doing a lot of things. But when you're on a journey and you're experiencing fear and doubt, and you get there, you can get there, but don't stay there. Don't live there. Don't set up camp there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you live in fear and doubt, and sometimes that thing could keep you stuck, and then the imposter syndrome and the comparison start to come in, and you really gotta be so steadfast and trying to continue the journey that you don't stop there. And then the third thing that is just really near and dear, I think, to most of us is you got to keep your relationship with God intact. Everybody may not be a believer, but if you do have a higher source, you really gotta keep that intact. Make time for prayer, make time for meditation and whatever that may look like. Make time to get centered and get grounded. I remember this lady told me, she was just like, Tamika, you have so much potential, but you need to center yourself. You need to get grounded.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant, but she said it in such a beautiful way. I was like, okay, I'll try. And really, it was like, getting centered in my faith. And, that's a journey. Everybody gonna be on a faith journey, but you got to know where your power source is. And it's not you. We're powerful, yes, in the earth, but that only goes so far.
Yeah.
You really have to, really understand that God has a path for you, and what you do for Christ will last. All the other things will wither away. I didn't write it. That's what the word says.
Yeah.
And also, last thing, I just did a class on this, but you got to write the vision. The word says to write the vision and make it plain so that those who may read it can run with it. If you have ideas, if you have visions, write them down. Start creating strategy around them. Don't keep it here. Create just little proposals for it, and you never know whose desk it might come across.
Yes.
And they may be like, that's a really good idea. Let's talk about that. So those are just, really the words of encouragement and little gems that I can drop that I've learned along the way is building relationships and keeping that heart in a good place. Keep that prayer line open, find time for self-care and get centered. And, that's in writing that vision, writing those visions and keeping it, keeping yourself open to possibilities. So
yeah, how can people plug into EyeKan, House Shy, or anything else that you have kind of coming up?
Absolutely. So if anyone wants to follow me, I just got a TikTok, y'all, so bear with me.
It's okay.
My auntie is getting there. Auntie trying now.
Yes.
So I'm on Instagram, Mimi on the mic. I am on MIMI, Mimi on the mic, and on TikTok, Mimi on the mic. I love me some LinkedIn. Tamika R. Smith is where you can find me. Tamika. Don't add all them other letters now. Tamika. R. Smith on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. And my email is tamika@EyeKanStudios.com. I'm getting into teaching and getting into doing more of this. If you want me to pull up and, and just talk some shop talk with you.
Yeah.
You got a class, you want me to come do a class with you, I'm open, I'm available for that.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story on Crossroads and Callings. Tamika is such a gem. I'm probably going to have to call her back in like 6 months. And I'm like, girl, give us an update because you dropped so much that you had going on. And I think you have a beautiful story of divine timing and alignment. And I really do believe that God is with you.
I'm so honored. I'm honored to be here. Shout out to you, first of all, because I know you've been in a transition, and I know you've been, trying to find your voice through a lot of noise. And I think it's so beautiful what you're doing. And, if you think nobody sees it, we do.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times, you'll be doing work and be like, nobody cares about this. I mean, we care about you doing the stuff that you dream about, regardless of who sees it.
Yeah.
But this is, really groundbreaking. And for you to have done 18 of these is so major. Some people don't get past 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You done did 18, and you've given people just a voice to talk about their journey, and that is honorable alone. So huge shout out to this woman right here.
Thank you so much, Tamika. And also thank you to our listeners. Please follow us on YouTube and all podcasting platforms. Also send Tamika some love. She's such a light. She would love to hear from you. If you have questions about the entertainment industry, House Shy, EyeKan, if you have events that you think that she would be a great partner on, she would love to hear from you.
Come with them little budgets. Oh, y'all better come with them little
Make
coins.
sure your money is right. Lord,
we work with our budgets.
Make sure the budget is right.
We work with our budget, but just make sure you got some. Make sure you got something stored.
Have the conversation. I also want to thank the National Public Housing Museum. They've been an amazing partner. Since the inception of Crossroads and Callings. I cannot thank you them enough. And until that time, please use your crossroads to find your path and your calling.